Hey everyone, welcome back for another long video of cleaning cards. Of course, I'm going to be using the Kurtz Card Care Spray. Getting a little bit low on this little bottle, but luckily I've got this other ginormous bottle that's nice and full and ready to go. I'm also possibly going to be using the Kurtz Recovery on some of the holographic sections of cards in cases where they need it. I'm also going to be using the Kurtz Card Polish. That's going to be used on basically every card. Got a big new bag of foam applicators. I've got a big stack of brand new cotton rounds ready to go. And we are basically just going to start working on all these cards. I'm obviously going to get started on Gengar first. And that's what we're going to do today is start cleaning and polishing cards and doing some restoration on the holograph. So this Gengar is going to be our first candidate. We've got this beautiful swirl right here down in the bottom. We definitely have some surface imperfections. You can see a big gouge in the card right here under the fossil symbol. There's also some big old scratches going on right in here. There's a scratch going across the holograph here into Gengar's eye. There's like some little scratching here. You know, just some little imperfections here and there. The back of the card definitely has some little spots here and there. The back of the card has obvious edge and corner damage. Not anything we're going to be able to do about that. But let's get right into it. First thing I'm going to be doing is using the Kurtz Card Spray. And I am just going to be grabbing a cotton round. And let me get my chair wheeled in position here. And I am just going to do the standard 2 sprays on the cotton round and moving that moisture all around in there so that it's not just concentrated in one spot. And we're going to get right to it. So just slowly working the card, wiping it down, gently holding it here with my fingers so that I'm not allowing the card to slide. Doing the top edge, the whole holographic section, and then I will move down to the bottom. Of course, being very gentle because I don't want to make these gouges or scratches on the cards any worse by pulling up any more ink. And then always working from the inside of the card to the outside of the card so that I am not pulling up the edge of the card and damaging the edge. So this is pretty good for the front. Just a quick wipe down. Definitely some stuff on there. I'm just going to take a dry cotton round and just go over the card to remove any excess moisture. Then we're flipping the card over. I'm just going to do one of those and slap any of that stuff off that's on there. All right, now onto the back of the card. And I'm going to see if I can concentrate right here and see if that spot will come off. Not at the moment. We're going to start here really on the Pokeball. Just work our way around the card. Once again, being very gentle on these edges, especially since there's whitening showing on the edge. I don't want to make it any worse. So working from the inside of the card to the outside as to not brush over any of those edges. And let's just concentrate right there. And it's coming off slowly. All right, now I'm just going to continue on the card, let the moisture kind of soak into that little speck of debris that's on the card. Let's find a real moist spot right there. And now I'm just going to concentrate on that one spot. Will it be removed? My tin's moving over here. All right, it looks like that's not coming off. I wish it would. but it doesn't look like it's going to. Let's take a quick peek. Yeah, that's just on there. That's not going anywhere. All right, let's take a look. Are we gonna recover this holograph? Yeah, let's just go for it. So I'm going to move these out of the way. I am going to grab a foam applicator and the Kurtz recovery. And this stuff is like, I don't even know. Been struggling to get it to come out. So let's see if I shake it up a bit, if it'll do anything, but yep, I'm just gonna do what I did the other day and try to get it to work over here so it doesn't spray all my cards. Yeah, this stuff is not wanting to come out. Come on, buddy. Can I open it? Oh yeah, look at that. I could just go like this and open it up. And did the straw fall off or something? I thought it was supposed to like suction itself up as you used it. Let's see if I try it upside down. Nope. So what I am going to do is just be opening it up like this and grabbing a little bit of this stuff right here. There we go. All right. Now I'm just going to use this on the holographic section. Using swirling motions. Might even try to grab a little bit more out of there. There we go. And just going to go over the whole holograph on this. Help bring out all those sparkles. Going vertical and horizontal. And we'll do some diagonal. And some opposite diagonal. And I'm just going to go back over it with some swirls. All right, let's take a look. Oh, sorry, microfiber pad. Making sure this is all clean and just giving it a quick wipe down. All right, now let's see how that holograph looks. All right, so we still have the deeper scratching. It's not gonna move those anywhere, like that one and some other little ones, but looks pretty good. I was asked if the polish would remove scratching on the back. I'm just gonna use the polish, so I'm not gonna use the recovery on this. So I need a new foam applicator because I'm not going to cross-contaminate the polish and the recovery. So let's get right into it. Grab some polish and let's get right to it. So I'm starting on the holographic section first, going over the whole Pokemon. And going on the vertical edges. back over to the other side, then the top edge, and then the top corners. Always working from the inside of the card to the outside of the card. And then down into the writing section, the information and attacks, and the bottom edge, and the bottom corners. All right, and now we just grab our microfiber pad and clean the card off. Once again, always working from the inside of the card to the outside of the card. Some people like to clean the cards in stages so they don't get stuff on their fingers. I just like to do the whole card in one shot. Some people will do like the top half first and then the bottom half second. So they're always keeping their fingers out of the goop that you're using to clean. All right, now we're just going to flip the card over and do the other side. Grabbing a little bit more polish. And starting in the middle with the Pokeball. Let's see if we can't remove that with the polish. Definitely doesn't look like it's moving anywhere. And slowly working our way to the outside edges, but not going over the edge. And doing the vertical edges. And the top edge, top corners. And coming down to the bottom edge, bottom corners. All right, and then we just need a quick wipe down with our microfiber cloth. This guy's gonna move over here for right now. I don't want to hear that the whole video. Back is wiped down. Make sure there's nothing on my fingers. Make sure there's no residue left on the back. Just another quick wipe down on the front. All right, let's take a look. Gengar looks pretty good. That swirl is pretty amazing. We're obviously not going to remove all those deep scratches. It is what it is. So, grab a penny sleeve. And a brand new top loader. If I could get it in the slot. There we go. And there we go. Looks good. All right, on to the next. What will we go for next? I also need another bag of penny sleeves here. I am gonna run low, so I'll grab these out right now. All right, let's go for this Espeon. Got a little piece of the fuzz from my cotton rounds. This card is in really good shape. The back has a big old ding right on the top. All right, let's start cleaning it. So we're going to use the opposite side of this cotton round so that we're not transferring any dirt or debris from the last Gengar that we cleaned. And just very gently going over, starting on the center of the card, going over the edges, the top edge, the corners. This card seems like it's relatively clean. And then we'll get the dry cotton round just to go over the card, then onto the back. And this still looks very clean, so I'm just going to keep using the same part of the cotton round, working my way to the outer edges. And the bottom half. All right, and now we will just use the dry one just to ensure the card's dry. And let's take a look at this holograph. I don't see any real scratching in this, so I think we're gonna just go on to the polish. I don't think it needs the recovery. Just trying to get some of this cotton round junk off the foam pad that I'm working on here. So I'm just going to use the opposite side of this foam applicator and grab some of the Kurtz polish, card polish, and we'll just start like I did before on the Gengar, working over the entire holographic section. Going over the vertical edges. And the top edge. And the top corners. And down into the information and writing section and attacks. And then the bottom edge. And the bottom corners. All right, now we will grab our microfiber pad and clean the card off. Oops, moving the whole pad. Just leaving no residue behind. I don't want to leave any of this polish stuff on the card. It's not going to damage anything, but I don't want to leave any residue on it. When I put it into a penny sleeve, it will smear everywhere. So flip the card over now and continue on with polishing the back. Just grabbing a little bit more polish on that same side of the foam applicator and starting in the center with the Pokeball. And going over the vertical edges. And the top edge and top corners. I'm not even going to go sideways on this because I don't want to make that little white part up here any worse. So I'm just going to go this way over the edge. All right, working our way down to the bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, and I'm going to get a new foam applicator on the next round, so I'm just going to toss that one. Now we need our microfiber cloth, and we wipe the card down. Once again, being very careful with that top edge because I don't want to damage that little imperfection or make it worse by lifting any more ink off the edge. So making sure there's nothing on my fingers, then moving down to the bottom half. Once again, cleaning my fingers off, giving the card another complete wipe down, and then we'll flip it to go to the front, and just another quick wipe down. All right, let's take a look. This Espeon looks really good. I am really happy with this card. There's even like a little swirl right here in where the start of that bluish reflecting pool or whatever it is that Espeon is touching. But yeah, really nice copy of this card. I'm really happy with it. Oh, grabbing too many penny sleeves there. And a brand new top loader. And we'll just click this into place. And there we go. On to the next card. All right, let's go for the Snorlax. This card is really damaged. It's got a lot of creasing down here in the corner. It's got big dents in the holograph. It's got scratches. It's got ink missing and scratches and dings. The back is really rough. We got a big crease here along the back and then the creases here. It's kind of crazy that that crease didn't come through to the front, but it's on the back. Yeah, this card is just in really rough shape, or more so just cleaning this card just to give it a little bit of hope back. I'm just going to use the same cotton round because this card's so dirty. I'm probably going to toss this cotton round after this card. Yeah, wow. That's pretty dirty. And I've just started with the top section, so let's see what comes off this card when all is said and done. I can see a lot of the junk coming off. So it is making an improvement. I'm going to flip this over and use the inside because there's so much dirt coming off this card. I don't want to scratch it and make it any worse than it already is. All right, there's still stuff up here on this top edge I'd like to see come off. Yeah, it's coming. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera a little bit, but I'm putting a lot of pressure on this card to actually get some of this stuff off. Wow, there's still so much dirt coming off. Wow, it's so dirty. All right, let's, I guess, go a little bit more. And let's move on to the back now. Oh yeah. Got a lot of dirt here. I might need another spray of Kurt's Card Care spray. This thing's so bad. You can just see the Pokeball has like all sorts of junk all over it. I don't know if that will come out, but let's try. Where do I spray? Right there. Just trying to get this thing soaked, basically. Try to remove some of this junk. Wow, even the white sections are like brown. So they're coming clean. Getting a little bit whiter now. And yeah, that stuff's coming off the Pokeball. So definitely an improvement. Oh man, I can see all this stuff sticking because there's all these imperfections on the card. So they're catching like little edges. Oh, poor Snorlax. Oh my goodness. I know it's probably hard to see in the camera how dirty this thing is, but it is gross from one card. Well, I think that's probably about as clean as I'm going to make it on the front and the back. Now let's see. I don't think it's really worth trying to use the recovery on. I'm just going to use the polish. There's no sense in trying to recover. Although, I've already got this thing out. Let's just throw a little bit of recovery on there. Okay. Just to make the holo pop a little bit better. It'll not really do much for the card in general, but a little something. Every little bit helps. Doing my vertical, my horizontal. I'm kind of just going over this fast because I don't expect like amazing results. Obviously the whole rest of the card is going to look just as bad as it did when I first started. But hey, all right, let's wipe that off. Yeah, we'll take a look at the holograph just to see the improvement. Yeah, it's definitely improved. Holo pops now, and now you can really see these giant dents on the card. So let's get to polishing. Kurt's card polish. And same thing, just starting with the holograph, helping this holo pop a little bit more. And then we're going to do the vertical edges. Like I said, I'm kind of doing a speed run on this card because it's just not going to be that great when all is said and done. Just a binder copy though, so it is what it is, as they say. Moving down to the writing and information and attack section. Bottom edge, bottom corners. And let's wipe her down. Nothing on my fingers. All right, let's flip it over and do the back side. Grab a little bit more polish. So I could do like a little bit of, I don't know, restoration on this card. I could possibly press out some of those bigger dents in the holograph or roll them out and see if they would improve at all. But I think I'm just going to leave this card as is. I don't really see the point with all these creases on it. But maybe this will be a good learning card in the future, or teaching card I should say, for teaching people how to recover cards that are really messed up. Because this card is beyond repair for the most part, honestly. All right. Wipe it down with the microfiber pad. Make sure there's nothing on my fingers. Wiping off the bottom half. And just another quick wipe down, making sure there's nothing on my fingers. Quick wipe down on the front. All right, let's take another look. And yeah, it's about as good as it's going to get. All these big creases are really never going to go anywhere. There's like dents everywhere on the back. I couldn't tell you what happened to this card in its life, but it had a rough one. So let's penny sleeve it up. And we're still going to give it a brand new top loader. It's still an OG Snorlax. All right, there we go. OG Snorlax. Clean, polished, and recovered. All right, let's go for this Kangaskhan with this beautiful swirl here on the side. It's definitely a little bit off center, but this card's in pretty good shape. Back looks good. There's some denting or some imperfection going on right in here. It's probably not going to show up very easily on the camera, but right in there. All right, let's start with the normal procedure. Gonna grab a new pad and 2 new sprays of Kurt's Card Care. Dab that moisture around so it's spread out. All right, let's clean this card off. You can already see the holo popping a little bit better just by wiping these cards down. It's kind of incredible what Kurt's Card Care spray does for cards. And some people get all upset and say that this is altering a card. I just think that you're cleaning it off, but that's just me. I do think that once you get into coloring cards and things along that nature, you're definitely pushing the envelope and going into the territory that nobody wants that card anymore, because it has been altered, I would say, if you add color back to it. And of course, the Kurt's Recovery is technically a microabrasive. So some people also believe that this is alteration of a card because you're removing some of the original material in order to remove some of those scratches on the holograph. So yeah, everybody has their own opinion, but I'm just trying to clean and recover these cards to make them look as good as possible. I'm just throwing them in a binder for my own personal collection. And yeah, I want them to look as good as they possibly can in the binder, basically. I also worry about putting cards that are dirty into a clean binder, that would transfer the dirt and dust and debris that's on the card eventually to other cards and possibly cause damage. So that's one of my biggest reasons for cleaning and polishing cards. I don't want to put dirty cards into a binder. So this card, we're going to take a quick look at it. It really is clean. I guess I'll hit it with one quick round of the recovery, but I don't think it needs it. I'm just going to try to make it look a little bit better. There's like almost no scratching on this card at all. I think what I'm going to do is start dabbing a Q-tip into here. And that way I can throw a little bit right on there. And maybe I'll just kind of that right there. Nah. I'll put this over here and just leave this on the side for now so I can reuse that. Sorry about that. All right, just a quick round of recovery here. Just to help that holograph pop just a little bit more. And I think there was a little scratch right in here. And we'll go vertical and horizontal. And diagonal. And opposite diagonal. And then just a couple more swirls across the whole thing. All right, that's all it needs. Let's grab the microfiber. Give it a quick wipe down. And we'll take a quick look. Oh, I left a little bit of residue on there. Let's clean it off. All right, looks really good. Now I don't see any scratching or any imperfections. So we are on to the polish. This is, I'm just gonna grab new ones. Yeah. Polish. All right, same thing, just starting in the holograph. Going over the entire Pokemon, using swirling motions, and going on to the vertical edges. And the top edge. Top corners. Working back down into the writing and attack section. And the bottom edge. And the bottom corners. All right, now we are going to grab our microfiber pad again and wipe it down. Making sure there's nothing on my fingers. All right, onto the back. Grabbing some more polish. And onto the Pokeball. Working our way from the inside to the outside. And vertical edges. And top edge. top corners. And down to the bottom edge. And bottom corners. All right. Microfiber pad. And flipping it over to the front. Another just quick wipe down. And penny sleeve. And top loader. All right, another one done. Looks pretty good. All right, what card are we gonna do next? I think we should go on to a Wheezing. All right, this guy's still good. We'll use the opposite side. And start the cleaning process. Top edge, top corners. Ooh, there's even a little partial swirl here. Kind of hard to see on these holographs because they're really dark. So they don't really show the sparkly part of the holograph, but all right, on to the other side. A little imperfection right here. Let's see if it'll come off. Yep. This card's got some pretty bad edge damage. I'm not really sure from what, but it almost looks like there's some water damage there. All right, card is cleaned. Doesn't look like there's any scratching in the holo. There's like maybe some ink missing from the holo. Not much I'm going to be able to do with that. So we're just going to polish it. Some very small imperfections on this card, but overall it's a very good copy. It looks like there was some little debris or something in the packaging or in the sleeve or something, which caused the card to have some imperfections on it. Let's see if these can come off. Oh yeah, they can. There's like these little black dots on the top border. This one might not come off. Yeah, it came off. All right, let's continue with the polish. Just anything to make the card look a little bit better. There's little black dots and black Pokémon or whatever it was. I couldn't tell you exactly, but there was definitely something on the card up there on that top border. Bottom edge, bottom corners, writing section. All right, let's wipe it down. All right, onto the back. Starting in the middle with the Pokeball, working our way to the outer edges. Doing the vertical edges. And the top edge, top corners. Working our way down the card, bottom edge, and bottom corners. All right, microfiber pad. Making sure there's nothing on my fingers. Checking the back, make sure there's no residue. Looks good. Just another quick wipe down on the front. All right, let's penny sleeve it. Yeah, there's definitely a couple little imperfections on the holo. You can really kind of see that swirl right in here. It's still difficult though because it's just a really dark holo. All right, let's put it in a top loader. Looking good. All right, next card. Let's go for a Typhlosion from Neo Genesis. One of my favorite cards, actually. It's got a cool swirl right there. So let's continue using this. It looks pretty clean. Going up on the vertical edges. And top edge. Top corners. Just going over the holo again. Down into the bottom writing section. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. There's definitely some scratching on the holograph. It might be hard to see in the camera, but I am going to attempt to recover this also. Got some gunk back here on this white part. Let's see if that comes off. Yep, it's coming off slowly but surely. Somebody spilled soda or something 30 years ago. Working our way down the card. will it come off all the way? Yeah, it's still there a little bit. Let's try a little bit more. All right, that's probably as good as it's gonna get. Still a little imperfection there, but oh well. All right, we're gonna get a new pad on the next round. Let's get all those little fibers off there. All right, and now we're going to use the recovery once again. So I'm going to grab a new foam applicator. I'm going to grab this, which I still think, yep, still has plenty on there. All right, and there's really big scratches right down in here. So I'm going to concentrate right there. But I'm obviously going to do the whole holographic section also. Doing my horizontal and vertical swipes. Along with my diagonal. And reverse diagonal. And then I'm just going to concentrate in that one spot once again. I know there's a lot of scratching. All right, let's wipe it down and take a look. All right, definitely a little bit of scratching right there still. But the rest of it looks really good. I guess we'll hit that spot one more time, but I don't think those are coming out. Grab a little bit more of the recovery out of here. And throw that right on here. And we're going to focus once again just right here. See if we can't get that out. All right, let's wipe it down. Yep, still there. Right in there. The rest of the holograph looks really good though, so we're just gonna roll with it. All right, let's polish. Grabbing another foam applicator. And let's polish away, starting with the holograph. just going over the whole writing section, doing the vertical edges. And then the top edge, top corners. Bottom edge, bottom corners. All right, let's get the microfiber pad. Make sure there's nothing on it. Clean my fingers off. Clean the bottom half of the card. And let's do the same on the back. Grabbing some polish. Starting at the Pokeball, as always. And working our way around the card. Vertical edge. Vertical edge. A little something here on the card. Let's see if we can get it off. I'm going to use one of these ones that I already have. This doesn't look like it's coming off. It's like a little black dot right in the white part. Nope, not moving. All right, we're going to continue on with the polish. I might be able to get that little black dot off if I like concentrated on it, use some Q-tips, but for right now, we're just going to move on. Bottom edge, bottom corners. All right. Let's give it a wipe down. Make sure my fingers are clean, even though I just touched the same part. All right, one more big wipe down. One more quick one for the front. All right. It's as good as she's gonna get for now. All right, penny sleeve. Top loader. Bounce it back up. There we go. Beautiful Typhlosion. All right, what card are we gonna do next? Let's go on to this Vaporeon we got over here. This one's missing a big chunk here. I think I've already cleaned and polished this one actually. So we're just gonna do a quick clean and a quick polish, just because. Grabbing some more Kurt's Card Care spray, giving it a quick wipe down. Yeah, this card already looks really clean. So I'm pretty sure I did this already on this card. but that's all right. Grab a dry cotton round, get that extra moisture off the card, flip it. All right, cleaning the back. Starting with the Pokeball, working our way out to the outer edges. And down to the bottom edges and bottom corner. Quick wipe down again with a dry cotton round. All right, now let's do a quick polish. So put that there now. At least it's got a swirl over here. That's a benefit. But yeah, it's missing a big chunk of the card ink right here in the bottom writing part. Top edge, top corners, and bottom corners and bottom edge. All right, let's wipe it down. Whoops. There we go. All right, now let's go to the back. Grabbing some polish. Working the Pokeball and working our way out to the outer edges of the card. Vertical edge, vertical edge, top edge, top corner, bottom edge, bottom corner, bottom corner. All right, let's wipe it down. Making sure there's nothing on my fingers. Wiping the bottom. Quick complete wipe down again. Flipping it to the front. All right, let's take a look. So we've got that beautiful swirl right there. It's really nice. But yeah, you can see the shine when I put the card on the light right. There's a chunk of the card missing right there. It would have been a really good condition card if it didn't have that chunk missing right there. I mean, it wouldn't have been a 10, but you know, that definitely degrades the value, having that big chunk missing on the front of the card. All right, penny sleeve, top loader, and another one done. All right, let's go on to the, let's go on to an English card. I've got an NT here, Black Star promo, that's pretty dirty. So this guy, we're gonna use the inside. I think this one's gonna get really dirty. Got some stuff over here on the edge that'll hopefully come off. got some stuff here on the holo. I'm hoping will come off. Bunch of sticky stuff on here. That sticky stuff came off. Let's keep trying for this stuff down here. Those might be scratches in the holo. Right there. Let's see if this stuff will come off the edge. Doesn't look like it's going to. I think we might have to hit it with some Kurtz Card Recovery, Kurtz Card Spray on the Q-tip. Let's see if this will do it. I don't want to get water in that edge. I'm not sure what this is, but it definitely doesn't want to come off. All right, well, yeah, these are all scratches in here. Those are all scuff marks. I'm gonna have to use the recovery on this. All right, it's still dirty on the back. Let's see if we can, yep, this stuff will clean off a little easier. This card's in rough shape. All right, I'll get a new one of these. Now we're definitely using the recovery on this one because there's just way too many scuffs for me not to attempt to recover. So let's get a bunch of this stuff on this guy. And I'll leave this here for now. Put the top back on. And let's get to recovering. Let's see what this does on a reverse foil card. Will these scuffs come out? And will this stuff come off, whatever it is, with some recovery hitting it? So we're just going to go over the whole card because the whole thing is basically a holograph. Except for the art section where the Pokemon is, but I'm just going to go over that real quick too. And we have these really big scuffs down here. And this stuff is still not coming off the edge. Stuff isn't moving. All right, let's wipe it down. Let's take a look. All right, we definitely still have all this scuffing in here. Definitely improved the scuffing up here a tiny bit. But yeah, this card's rough. I guess we'll go for one more quick recovery round because I got a bunch more on this Q-tip ready to go. And we'll especially focus down here. And up here. And these, I don't even know. That's just not coming off. So this might be a letdown of a card because it's so damaged. But not much you can do about it. All right. Let's give it a full wipe down. Let's take a look. Yeah, the scuffing is all still there. I'm not even going to go any further with this card. Just giving it a quick wipe down. This one's going to have to be further addressed to attempt to remove whatever that is. And then I think the recovery is about as good as it's going to get on that holograph. Unfortunately. All right, top loader. There we go. Black Star promo empty. All right, let's go to the next card. I guess we'll keep the theme of English and just go on to the Steelix from Neo Genesis. All right, grabbing a new cotton round and some Kurt's Card Care spray. Just dabbing it around in there. And let's start cleaning. Starting, of course, with the holographic section. Going over the edges, top edge, top corners. Bottom writing and attack section. Bottom edge, bottom corners. Let's take a quick look. There's really no scratching in this holograph, so we're just going to polish, I believe. Onto the back, a quick clean. Edges, top edge. There's something there on the card. Will it come off? Yep, there it goes. Top corners, working our way down. All right. Still some residue. Let's just wipe it down with a dry one. And I'm just gonna clack this off, get some of this stuff off. All right. So we are just going to polish this card. It doesn't need recovery. So just grabbing some Kurt's Card polish. And here we go. This is another holograph that like really doesn't show the sparkling. So the holographic section's a little bit boring, but it's definitely one of my favorite characters. I love Steelix. And going to the top edge. Just gonna grab a little bit more polish here. Top edge. Top corners. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, now we need to wipe down. All right. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, you really can't see, like there's no sparklies on really, like you could see like a tiny little bit of sparkle in this corner here, but there's like really not much sparkle that shines through on these Steelix cards. All right, let's go on to the back. Polish on the Pokeball. This one's got a big old ding here on the Pokeball. Some imperfections. And the corners and edges. Top edge. Top corner. And down to the bottom edge. Bottom corner. All right. Now we can wipe her down. And some stuff on the edges. Just want to make sure there's nothing there. And one more quick wipe down on the front. And penny sleeve. Top loader. And there we go. Steelix from Neo Genesis. All right, what's the next card we're going to do? I say we do this extremely dirty Magnemite. Yeah, let's go for it. Not really much of a point in cleaning this. This one looks like it's actually from a smoking house, which is why it would be such a drastic color difference on the white part. It also could have just been an extremely dirty environment, I guess. Like if the card was just like left outside or something. I have no idea how you get a card to yellow like that. But anyway, let's try to clean it up. Sorry, I'm gonna have to put a little bit more elbow grease into this one because it's got so much more dirt on it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's some dirt. Well, the front is cleaning up at least. I don't know if there's any hope for the back. But the front looks good. Or decent, I should say. Alright, let's... I don't even know. There's junk on the Pokeball. There's gunk everywhere. Let's give it another spray. I'm probably going to need a lot of help on this one. Will the yellowing come out? I doubt it. I think it's stained. The dirt is wild. What's coming off of this card? Wow. All right, let's go to the other side. It's definitely not going to get white again. But this is a great candidate for, can the recovery get scratches off the back? So there's definitely scratching in the back. I guess we'll also see if the recovery can help with the whitening. I highly doubt it. Highly, highly, highly doubt it. But let's grab one of these foam applicators out. We'll grab our Q-tip. We will grab some Kurtz recovery. Dab it all over this thing. And let's see what it does. I'm just going to grab some more. All right. Let's see if we just like go over one spot, if it makes it whiter. I would say no. Well, I don't think it's really helping. We'll just keep going just because. Yeah, I'd say it's not helping. The white spots are still yellow. The scratching is still there, 100%. Yeah, this card's shot. Let's just throw some recovery on the holograph just to make it pop a little bit more. All right. And I guess we'll polish this card. I don't know why, but it'll just make it look a little bit better. Okay. Wipe it down. And I guess, I don't know why, but I'll polish the back. Maybe it brought out a little bit of the white and helped it pop a little bit more, but not enough. All right, tossing that. Quick wipe down. I'm not reusing that. It's dirty. Make sure there's nothing on my fingers. Still little white speckles getting caught up on this thing. Front of the card. Quick wipe down. All right, that's all she wrote for this one. Still has a pretty sweet swirl right here. But yeah, that one might be one of the roughest Japanese holos that I have. Top loader. There we go. All right, what are we doing next? Let's go for a, this one wants to go Electabuzz. Lieutenant Surge's Electabuzz. Starting to run out of cards here, which is a good sign. Okay, let's get some card care spray on the cotton round. Let that soak in. All right. This is a really sweet card. Electabuzz looks so tough. Ready to battle. Now we're back into some of the cleaner cards, or cleaner looking cards, I should say. They're still definitely dirty. Let me grab a dry cotton round and onto the back. Wow, the color's so much different from the last Magnemite that we just washed, or cleaned, attempted to clean. From a smoker's house. And take a clean one, dry one, just dry that off. All right, let's take a look at the holograph. I'm not seeing any scratching, so we are just going to polish this card. Grabbing a foam applicator. And polishing away. And the vertical edges. And top edge. And top corners. And bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, let's wipe it down. This is another card where the holograph just doesn't pop like a lot of other holographs, just because it's a darker holograph. It's also got a lot going on in the holograph with the lightning bolts, so it kind of doesn't let you see the sparkles in there as much. Let's go onto the back and polish this. And the vertical edges. And the top edge. Top corners. Bottom edge. And bottom corners. All right, let's wipe it down. Make sure there's nothing on my fingers. Oops. One more quick wipe down on the front. All right, looks good. Let's grab a penny sleeve. And a top loader. Get in your home. And there we go. A Lieutenant Surge's Electabuzz. All right. Oops, sorry, bumping the camera. Bumping the camera. All right, let's go for this energy card. So it looks like it's really dirty, but it's actually just the background and the energy writing. So let me make sure that my camera's still proper after I smacked into it with my noggin. All right, good enough. Okay, this is a giant holographic section, but I don't see any scratching. So we're gonna just do the clean and polish on this one. And we're gonna grab this and flip it and give the card a good wipe down. This card has 2 holographic swirls, which is pretty sweet. It's getting lunchtime. My stomach is a rumbling. But I got a few more cards that I want to get cleaned here. This card definitely has some junk on it. Can't really see it too much there in the camera, but it's definitely pulling a little bit of stuff off with this cotton round and this Kurt's card spray. These cards have been left in pretty good shape for how old they are. I was very young when I first started collecting these guys, that's for sure. All right, let's polish. Actually, I'm just gonna polish. I don't think it needs recovery on this. So once again, just starting in the middle of the card, working our way towards the outer edges, never going over the outer edge unless I am going like this very gently Yeah, I can definitely see that holographic popping out now using this polish. Top edge, top corners, working our way back down into the writing section, and bottom edge and bottom corners. All right, let's give it a wipe. I love these energy cards. They just look so cool from Neo Genesis. And I'm obviously a bigger fan of the ones that have the holographic swirls like this one. Like right here and right here. That's just a partial swirl, I guess I would say, but still a swirl nonetheless. Starting with the Pokeball, working our way out to the edges. All right, vertical edge, vertical edge, top edge, top corners, our way back down the card, bottom edge, bottom corners, and a wipe down. Oh, caught an edge. See, that's what you don't want to do. Hopefully I didn't do any damage. It looks fine. Another quick wipe on the front. Let's take a look. Looks good. Looks like a pretty solid copy. Definitely some imperfections, but nothing's perfect. Well, I guess you can get a Beckett Black Label, but this card will not be getting that. All right. Top loading it up. And there we go. All right, on to the next card. Let's keep it simple and just go with another quick energy. Let's use the other side here. It's from 2003. Somebody just sent me this energy, and I think it was with that last energy that I just cleaned, actually. And this card has definitely got some edge damage and whatnot. I think I'm just going to clean it down. I don't need to polish it. Penny sleeve it up. And top load. All right. These are not the penny sleeves I like. I am going to not use those. I like these ones better. There we go. Got all these ready to go. All right. Next card. Let's go with a Team Rocket's Golbat. Throw this guy up here. Got a couple more trainers over here. All right. Still have a lot of cards to clean. Let's flip this inside out. It's still nice and moist from the Card Scare spray. And let's clean this Golbat. This card's pretty clean. Working our way down the card. Definitely something right there. All right, looks like it came off. Yep. All right, let's polish. Grabbing a new foam applicator. Trying to get some polish off the edge, so I'm not just using the center part of the polish. And polishing away here. Vertical edges. Top edge. Top corners. Working our way down the card. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. And wiping it down. All right, onto the back. And getting some of this fuzzy stuff out of here. All right. Starting with the Pokeball. Vertical edges. Top edge. Top corners. And wiping her down. Making sure there's nothing on my fingers. One last wipe down. Quick wipe down on the front. And let's check it out. This is another one where the holograph is actually really dark again. So you can see the sparkles, but they're definitely not as pronounced on this card. But anyway, let's penny sleeve it up. And brand new top loader. Some little fuzz on my hand. And there we go. Team Rocket's Golbat. All right, let's go on to the next card. Let's go for this Grimer from Fossil. All right, let's use the opposite side of this little cotton round. This card looks like it's pretty clean. Like I don't see any major junk or gunk on it. Funny because it's a Grimer, or muck, I mean to say. It's muck. Grimer is who he evolves from. Yeah, really clean card. Not much coming off of it. White on the back is nice and bright. Couple little imperfections on the edges and on the top, but kind of a little bit expected on an old card like this. All right, let's just take a look at the holograph. I don't see any scratching, so we're just gonna polish. All right, got the clean new side of the polisher. And let's get it. All right, starting with the holograph and the Pokemon. Go doing the vertical edges. And the top edge. And the top corner. Top corners. Working down the card. And bottom edge. Bottom corners. And let's wipe it down. Making sure not to leave anything behind. Wiping off my fingers. Whoops, moving my whole workstation around here. All right, let's move on to the back. Polish. Pokeball. Working our way out. And we're going to do the vertical edges. Top edge. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. And we'll get a new foam applicator. All right. Giving it a good wipe down. Making sure there's nothing on my fingers, giving the front another quick wipe down. And let's take a look. Looks pretty good. A couple imperfections on there. But, oh well. Penny sleeve. And top loader. There we go. Muck, all done. All right, let's go on to bumping the camera again. Sorry. Let's do this Gym Heroes Clefable. This one's in pretty rough shape, but we're gonna clean it up anyway. All right, I need some more Kurt's Card Care spray on this guy, on this new cotton round, and just dabbing it in there. All right, let's get to cleaning. There's this black dot right here on Clefable. I can't tell if that was supposed to be there or not. Nope, it's coming off. So definitely not supposed to be there. All right, the spot on Clefable is as good as it's gonna get. Definitely some dirt coming off here. Let's go down the edges. Bottom edge, bottom writing section. Ooh, this card's dirty. Definitely getting dirt off. All right, let's go on to the back. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna need another spray here. These things are really dirty. Pokeball. Got all sorts of poke junk and poke mold or something on it. Wow. This edge has a ton of junk on it. Got to put a lot more elbow grease into these really dirty cards. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. I'm shaking the whole table. Wow. Oh my goodness. This thing is so dirty. Can't remember. I think I got this card on eBay. Man, this is rough. Alrighty then. So, yeah, the card still has a lot of junk on it. Let's keep trying. Wow, that's the clean part. My goodness. Well, a lot of the stuff came off, but this card is extremely rough. I don't even know if I'm going to polish it. Nah, it's not even worth it. This thing's so brutal. It's all creased up here. Yeah. Penny sleeve. And I guess I'll put it in the top loader. Erica's Clefable. In really rough shape. Alright, let's go on to a cleaner Clefable, I hope. A Clefable from Jungle. I'm not sure if all those little black spots are going to be... Nah, that's definitely not all supposed to be there. Another really dirty Clefable. I'm just getting another spray of Critch Card Care spray. I mean, look at all these little black dots. I don't think they're supposed to be there. All these dots on the Pokeball, definitely not supposed to be there. Let's see what comes off and what doesn't. Alright, so the spots are coming off of Clefable's dirty belly. Alright, she looks better now. Yep, a lot of dirt coming off here. All in all, the card looks to be in decent shape. Man. Then I flip it over and I got all this junk on here. Another perfect example of why I wouldn't want to put a dirty card into a binder, because this card has Pokémold all over it. Why would I want to put Pokémold into a binder with all my other cards? That doesn't make much sense. I mean, this could just be, you know, caked on dirt from the years, but if it is like a type of mold, I wouldn't want it being transferred to the rest of my cards. Alright, it's cleaning up, slowly but surely. Once again, sorry for shaking the camera, but I have to put kind of a lot of pressure on cleaning this card because it's so dirty. Alright, it looks a lot better than when we started, that's for sure. Actually, still a little bit of stuff right here. Alright. Let's take a look. Okay, so the holograph is all messed up. All sorts of messed up, so we're going to recover that for sure, or attempt to. Back has got edge damage, corner damage, you name it, it's got it. So, let's get the Q-tip out. Let's get the recovery going. Probably way too much. All right. And we got a foam applicator over here with recovery on it already. All right. And here we go. just trying to give the holograph a fighting chance to look half decent. It's definitely not going to restore this card to original perfection by any means. And I'm just going to kind of go over the whole card with this stuff. All right, I think that's probably all I'm doing on this card, just because it's somewhat of a lost cause. These deeper scratches are not going to come out. All right, let's see. Yep, some bigger, deeper scratches that are just going to be there. But all in all, it looks decent, so we're just going to roll with it, polish it up, and throw it in the binder. We at least got the majority of the bigger gunk residue Pokemold, whatever was on there. So we addressed that at least. So the card does look a lot better. A heck of a lot better than it did when we started. That's all we're trying to do, is improve the look and the overall appeal of the card. There's no going back from big hollow scratches or whitening around the edges or the corners. And like this card also has, there's no going back when there's big chunks of ink missing off the card. All right, let's wipe this down. All right, now we're on to the back. Starting with the Pokeball. The back definitely cleaned up a lot. There are all those black dots and all that Pokemold all over the Pokeball, and really all over the whole back of the card. So it definitely did something. Top edge, top corners, going down to the bottom, bottom edge, and bottom corners. All right, giving it a wipe down. And just a quick wipe down on the front. Oops. All right, penny sleeving it up. Now let's take a quick look, I guess. Looks decent. Still a lot of scratches. Still a lot of edge wear and imperfections on the back. But once again, as good as she's going to get. There we go, Clefable. All right, let's go on to this Pidgeot. Let's take a look at the holograph. We definitely have some scratching throughout the holo. A swirl right here. Back, pretty rough all the way around. So Let's clean her up. And probably recover this one as well, because why not? All right, moving that moisture around in there. And let's get to cleaning. This card looks overall in much cleaner condition than the last card that we cleaned, the Clefable. Excuse me. Yes, there's really not much dirt coming off on this card. And flipping it over. All right. Let's get the recovery going. Got still a little bit left here on the Q-tip, and I'll grab some more. And here we go. And doing our vertical. And horizontal. And diagonal. And reverse diagonal. All right, let's wipe it off. And take a look. Oh yeah, all right, so these big scratches aren't going anywhere. That's probably about as good as it's gonna get, honestly. I'll do one more quick round, just because I have the stuff out here already. But I don't really see there being much improvement with these bigger, deeper scratches. Especially these ones right here that I'm addressing. These go right across the holograph into the ink of the card. And it's really difficult to even attempt to try to remove those because you basically can't. Once the ink is gone, the ink is gone. All right, let's give it a wipe down. And take a look. Oh yeah, still all there. All right, polish time. whole holographic section and the Pokemon. Going over the vertical edges. And down into the writing. And do the top edge. And the top corners. Down to the bottom of the card. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. And let's wipe it down. Oh no, an Umbreon fell down. Let's move those back up there. All right, to the back. Polishing it up. And the vertical edges. Top edge, top corners, working down the card, bottom edge, and bottom corners. Let's wipe it down. Flipping it over, quick wipe down on the front. All right, let's take a quick look. Looks half decent for how old this card is. All right. There's Pidgeot. All right, on to the next. Let's go for the Slow King from Neo Genesis. This card looks pretty good. There's definitely some very light scratching in the holograph, so we're going to recover. And I'm going to open this up. And let's clean it off. All right, that's clean. Let's go on to the back. There's definitely some junk down here, but all in all, this card looks pretty clean. All right. Now let's grab some recovery out of the bottle. Getting a new foam applicator. And just dabbing that stuff right on there. All right, gonna polish the holograph, or recover the holograph, I should say. Some very, very, very light scratching on this card, so I'm hoping that it can remove those little light scratches. They're of course out over here. All right, we're going to do our vertical. And horizontal. And diagonal. And opposite diagonal. All right, let's give it a wipe down and take a look. Yeah, that looks great. Tiny little scratch right up there. Let's do it one more time. Let's grab this guy. Boop. And we'll address right there. I think there's a tiny little scratch still right up in here. Alrighty, let's wipe it down. Let's see what we got. It's still there, but it's as good as it's gonna get. All right, now we polish. Starting with the holographic section, of course. Go into the vertical edges. Top edge. Top corners. Working our way down into the writing section. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. And then we wipe it down. right onto the back. Starting with the Pokeball. Vertical edges. Top edge. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, and then wiping it down. One more quick wipe on the front. All right, let's take a look. Sweet Slowking from Neo Genesis. All right, grabbing a penny sleeve. And a brand new top loader. And there's the Slowking Aquapolis. Or sorry, Slowking Neo Genesis. Keep wanting to say Aquapolis for that. Alright, let's do this Gengar. Let's take a look at the holo. Definitely some little... maybe not. I don't think there's really much scratching in this holograph. We're going to hit it with one round of the recovery, but we're not going to go crazy. Cleaning it off here. Vertical edges. Top edge. Bump the camera. My bad. Cleaning off the back. The back looks pretty good already though. Top edge. Working our way down the card. Couple tiny imperfections on this card. A little bit of ink missing right there. A little ding on the edge. All in all, this card's in pretty good shape for its age. All right, now let's grab some foam applicator and recovery. Grabbing my little Q-tip and throwing this right on there. Close that back up. All right, and let's recover this holograph. Like I said, there's really not much scratching on this holo to begin with. I'm just doing this to kind of remove any of the little scratches or imperfections and just make this card look really good. Going vertical. And horizontal. And then just coming through, I got the diagonal and reverse diagonal. And then just another couple swirls around. All right, I'd say we're good there. Let's wipe it off. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that holo looks great. On to polish. And vertical edges. Down into the bottom section, bottom edge, bottom corners. All right, let's wipe it down. All right, onto the back. Vertical edges. Top edge. Top corners. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, let's wipe it down. Wipe my fingers off. One more quick wipe down. All right, let's take a look. Some tiny imperfections here and there. This card would probably get like a 6 maybe. Just a quick guess off the top of my head. Top loading it up. And there's a Gengar from Fossil. All right. I think we're going to do one more card. Let's do a trainer. This thing's still clean. back. This card's pretty clean already. Doesn't have any obvious major dirty spots. Let's take a look at the holo. I don't see scratches, so we are going to just polish. Starting with the holographic section, of course. And going on to the vertical edges. Top edge. Top corners. Down to the bottom writing section. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, let's wipe it down. All right, onto the back. Vertical edges. We're going to do the top edge. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right. All right, one more wipe down on the front. All right, let's take a look. Card looks pretty solid. Definitely some imperfections here and there. Not perfect, but it's still in really good shape. Penny sleeve and top loader, of course. And there we go. All right, let's end things here with a Misty. Let's take a look at the holograph. There's a couple little nicks here and there. This card's not in that great a shape. So we're just going to do a clean and a polish. 2 sprays of Kurt's Card Care spray dabbed in the middle. Let's go. Down to the writing section here. Bottom edge. Yeah, this card's relatively clean compared to some of the other ones that we've cleaned off. Right onto the back. Vertical edge. Vertical edge. Top edge. Top corners. Bottom edge. Bottom corners. All right, let's start with some polish.